Hi everyone, this is Avalon from Crafts Direct, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can make some resin pet tags. Now what I love about this craft is that you can make a tag for your pet that fits their personality, and I love how you can really customize it. I think that's just really fun. And if you yourself, you don't have a pet, I think this also makes a really great gift for the pet lover in your life. Follow along and I will show you step by step how you can make these resin pet tags. To begin, you want to set up your workspace. Make sure you put a drop cloth down. You want to open any windows, maybe have a fan running. You just want to make sure you have good ventilation. You might even want to wear a mask if you are sensitive to the smells of the resin. It's also important that you make sure you have gloves on. Label each small cup, one with an A and the other with a B. This is to help you so that when you use the cups again, you make sure you are pouring the right substances into each cup. Grab the resin that is labeled with the A and pour it into the correct cup. You only need a small amount. You will do the same with the resin that is labeled with the B. And you want your cups to be side by side, and you want to make sure that you pour an equal amount of both the A and the B. So if you have them side by side, it's much easier to see that they are equal to one another. Pour both parts into another cup, and you will then begin to stir. Take a stir stick and slowly stir both parts together. It's really important that you do this slowly because if you go too fast, you're going to create a lot of bubbles in your resin. So do this slowly for 3 minutes and you'll notice that the resin will become clear. Set the resin aside for about 5 minutes so that some of the bubbles rise to the top. I then like to bounce my cup up and down and knock it onto the table to try to help pop some bubbles. I then take a heat gun to it to help pop the bubbles as well. Grab some sparkles and add them to the resin. If you want to use that same cup again, you'll want to pour it into another cup. Stir it all together and then you will pour it into the pendant mold. You will just want to do one light layer that completely covers the bottom of the pendant. I decided I wanted more glitter. I wanted it to completely fill the whole pendant, so I went back and added it to the mold. Add some heat to the top of the resin to help pop any bubbles. You will then wait 20 to 25 minutes to let it start to cure. And while you're waiting, you then can mix up more resin to pour into the other jewelry molds. Follow all of the same steps that we had just done before. And just as a heads up, this portion of the video is sped up, and I wanted to remind you that it is really important that you stir slowly when mixing the resin. Pour half of the resin into a separate cup. Each cup will fill up an individual pendant. Set aside the resin for a few minutes and then grab your mold to see if the resin has begun to cure. You just want to make sure that it's starting to cure so that the alphabet letters don't sink too far deep into the pendant. So you will use 8 tweezers to add the alphabet letters to the pendant to spell out your pet's name. You can also use a toothpick to help adjust the beads as well. Grab the resin that you had just mixed up and then take the blue powder and add it to the resin and mix it together. Pour the resin into the small square mold. Add a few drops of the black dye and swirl it in with a toothpick. And then go back in with some more of the blue powder as well. And use as much as you need to create the desired look that you want. Then take a heat gun and add some heat to the top of the resin to help pop any bubbles. Grab that second cup of resin and add some gold glitter to the resin and mix it together. Pour it into the large square mold and then add a small leaf in the resin as well. Add some heat to the resin to help pop any bubbles. Let the resin sit for about 20 to 25 minutes and it should begin to cure. Once you've noticed that it has started to harden, you then can add your alphabet beads to spell out your pet's name. Let the resin cure for about an hour, and then you will mix up the resin once again for one final layer, and you will add to all 3 pendants one final layer to completely smooth out the top. Add some heat to the top to help pop some bubbles, and then set the mold aside for 24 hours to let the pendants completely cure. After those 24 hours are up, you will double check to make sure the pendants are cured before you pull them out of the mold. On one of the tags, I had some resin that was covering the hole where the jump ring is supposed to go. So I took a tweezers to help open that hole back up again. And this is why it's really important that when you are pouring your last layer of resin, that you really get even with the mold and make sure that it isn't overflowing or covering that hole. But if that does happen, you can go back in with your tweezers or even a nail to punch a hole in that. Take a scissors to cut off any of the little bits of resin that are on the edges of the pendant. You can also use sandpaper or a sanding block to help sand down all the edges. Grab your keychain and you will put it in the top of the pet tag. It's going to be really helpful if you have some pliers so that you can open up the keychain to easily put it in the top of the pendant. Now your pet tags are done, and all you have to do is add them to your furry friend's collar. Thank you so much for watching this video. You can shop all the supplies needed to make this project at craftsdirect.com/projects.